Hello Israel, it's Red Planet again, coming to you with another video. Okay, we're going to listen to Woodward Entertainment talk about Antarctica. Antarctica. Let's get into it, Israel. See what he got to say.
In the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 6, of the King James Version of the Bible, it reads, "And God said, Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." Now, many people are having trouble determining what this scripture means. Let me explain. The word firmament here is the Greek translation of the Hebrew word rakia, meaning expanse, from the root word raka, meaning spread out. It was created to divide the waters from the waters. Now, what does that mean? Well, as you all know, water exists in three forms: a solid, a liquid, and a gas. These are the waters, plural, that are being divided. We have the division of solid ice at the polar caps from the liquid ocean, seas, lakes, and rivers, and reservoirs deep in the earth. And then we have the firmament or atmosphere that divides the gas form of water from its liquid and solid forms. If you look at different Bible translations of the word rakia, you will find the words space, expanse, firmament, canopy, vault, even horizon. The translation of the original word does not, however, change the meaning of the original word, even if you use the word dome. How many solid domes do you think Moses was in that he was able to use the word rakia to mean just that? Biblical scholars agree that he was describing the curve or arc of the sky. The word was not intended to describe solidity, but something that is permanent or everlasting. Now, even though I just explained what the firmament is, people will contest. Okay, so the simplest way to prove this is by traveling to the circular base of this dome. On the flat earth map, this is located somewhere past the ice wall that surrounds us. On the current globe, this is known as Antarctica. Now, flat earthers will say that no one can go down to Antarctica, and if they can, they are prevented from going too far because of something called the Antarctic Treaty. So let's take a look at this treaty, shall we? Now, we're not going to search Wikipedia because it's designed so that anyone can write or edit any subject in it. Instead, we're going to go to the source, the U.S. Department of State, at state.gov. This treaty was signed at Washington on December 1st, 1959, and was entered into force June 23rd, 1961. Now, when you read the narrative of the treaty, you will find that by the 50s, 7 nations, Argentina, Australia, Chile, France, New Zealand, Norway, and the UK, were making territorial sovereignty claims in Antarctica. Now, when the U.S. caught wind of this, they said, wait just a minute. We are not going to allow these nations to just go down there making claims on territory, because the next thing to happen is nations fighting over land, blowing shit up. And we cannot have this happen in Antarctica. The U.S. wanted to keep this place as an uncontaminated reserve, and the Soviet Union agreed. This treaty would do 3 things. It would ensure that the legal status quo of the Antarctic continent remain unchanged, that the scientific cooperation continue, and that the continent be used for peaceful purposes only. And the 11 nations, Argentina, Australia, Belgium, Chile, France, Japan, New Zealand, Norway, South Africa, the Soviet Union, and the UK accepted the conditions of this treaty. This treaty was not put together because the U.S. wanted to hide a dome. It was put together to keep the other countries from going down there, sticking flags in the ground, digging up resources, and blowing up bombs. Why? Because there is land there. There are natural resources and wildlife there that they do not want disturbed. And I don't blame them. Because we all know, if there was a dome there, some idiot would come along and try to blow a hole in it. So what did these nations agree to? Well, the treaty is divided into 14 articles. For example, Article 1 states, 1. Antarctica shall be used for peaceful purposes only. There shall be prohibited, inter alia, any measures of a military nature, such as the establishment of military bases and fortifications, the carrying out of military maneuvers, as well as the testing of any type of weapons. 2. The present treaty shall not prevent the use of military personnel or equipment for scientific research or for any other peaceful purposes. You will be able to read through these articles on the U.S. Department of State's website under the Bureau of Arms Control, Treaties and Agreements. The link to this will be in the description box. The fact is, folks, anyone can go to Antarctica as long as your activities are peaceful, and as long as you share information about any scientific research or discoveries with the other nations signed into the treaty, which today is 53 nations. There are going to be restrictions, of course, just as there are restrictions when you enter and exit any other country on the planet. So folks, when you hear a flat earther say, nobody can go down to Antarctica to check it out, to see if there is in fact a dome, they are lying. And just remember that you can take a flight and cruise to Antarctica, usually departing from Australia. You can use Swoop, Qantas, you can go by Cool Antarctica and expedition trips, and there are more. And many of these trips, although expensive, cost under $10,000, and some are half that price. Now folks, you're going to see flat earthers in the comment section go off. And for those of you who do believe in this theory, if I believed the earth was flat, I would spend more time trying to prove that than instead trying to prove the moon landing was fake, instead of trying to prove that we never traveled into space, instead of trying to prove that the ISS and satellites are fake, instead of trying to prove that NASA lies and their photos and videos are fake, instead of trying to prove that people who have been to Antarctica are Freemasons, and instead of trying to prove that people like you and I cannot go to Antarctica. I would spend more time on proving the actual shape of the earth than trying to find a conspiracy theory to prove another conspiracy theory. I will agree that NASA lies about many things, but they cannot lie about everything, because you need some truth mixed in to make a lie believable. And I will agree that perhaps they are hiding something in Antarctica. And the reason for doing that would be to either protect that thing or protect us from that thing. Either way, that mystery will probably continue on for quite some time. As for flat earthers, you don't need conspiracy theories or 200 proofs to support your claims. You just need the earth to actually be flat.